Hello everyone, I'm Sign1News anchor Jaydeep Gore. Here's a quick look at the top trending stories making headlines today. If you post an interesting comment about this update, we may add it at the bottom of the screen. Hurricane Ian has now strengthened through a huge Category 3 storm. It is currently bashing Cuba, and forecasters say it is moving its way directly towards Florida. Ian is expected to be the first major hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. this year. The storm has been rapidly strengthening, expected to bring a life-threatening storm surge to Florida's west coast. And for the first time in over 100 years, Tampa could get a direct hit. Officials are urging residents to get ready. Several counties have issued evacuation orders. But some residents are going to stay and ride out the storm.
There's evacuation orders that are in place on all these counties from Pasco and Pinellas down to the Fort Myers area. And our recommendation is to heed those evacuation orders. What those evacuation orders are doing is identifying people that live in areas that are vulnerable to major storm surge. And that storm surge can be life-threatening. There's certain things we can protect against in terms of the wind and the structures, and we've got great building codes. But when you have 5 to 10 feet of storm surge, that is not something that you want to be a part of. And Mother Nature is a very fearsome adversary. So please heed those warnings. You do not need to evacuate to another state. You don't need to go hundreds of miles away. There's shelters that are open in all of these counties at this point. The important part of if you're under an evacuation order is evacuate to higher ground that is going to be safe from the type of surge and flooding that we're fearing with this storm.
If you or someone you know lives in Florida, we have posted Tuesday's press conference in its entirety on all of our Sign1News platforms. Please watch it or share it. It has very important information you need to stay informed and safe. We have new details in the case against former NFL quarterback Brett Favre. Investigators say he was involved in a scandal that used $4 million from welfare funds for needy families to build a multi-million-dollar volleyball facility at his former college, the University of Southern Mississippi. Text messages reveal Favre kept pushing for the money, even after being warned it was potentially illegal. And according to court documents, he also tried to get additional funds for an indoor football arena. Favre has not been criminally charged, but he is a defendant in a civil lawsuit. His attorney claims he did not know where the money came from. If you missed it, an historical moment happened on Monday at exactly 7:14 p.m. NASA successfully crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid. So why is that important? Well, first, it's the first time it's ever been done. And second, when the spacecraft slammed into the asteroid, it changed the asteroid's path and speed. Asteroids, especially large ones, are very real threats to Earth. And the test showed it is possible to protect the Earth from potential dangerous asteroids. The spacecraft was the size of a refrigerator, traveling at 15,000 miles per hour. The asteroid was as big as an Egyptian pyramid. The asteroid was about 7 million miles away from Earth. But scientists say this test helps them prepare for future threats that could be much closer. Dignitaries from around the world were in Japan today to pay their respects for Shinzo Abe, including U.S. President Kamala Harris. The former Prime Minister's state funeral was held today. He was assassinated in July. This is video showing Abe's ashes arriving at the funeral in Tokyo. His wife is seen handing his urn over to the current prime minister at the ceremony. The mood inside was peaceful and somber. But outside, hundreds of protesters gathered to rally against the state funeral for Abe. Protests have been taking place for weeks leading up to the funeral. Demonstrators are protesting the use of public funds to pay for the funeral, which is expected to be around 12 million US dollars or 1.6 billion yen. Since 1977, Star Wars fans have heard and loved the deep voice of legendary actor James Earl Jones as the villain Darth Vader. Jones is 71 years old now. Jones is 91 years old now and hasn't done any voice work for Star Wars since 2019. And now he's retiring his voice. Kinda. According to Vanity Fair, Jones agreed to a deal that allows his voice to be used in future Lucasfilms projects through artificial intelligence and archive recordings. In fact, one company has already worked on developing a version of Jones's voice, which was featured in the Disney Plus miniseries Obi-Wan Kenobi. President Joe Biden rolled out the red carpet at the White House for the Atlanta Braves. The ceremony was to honor the team's 2021 World Series victory over the Houston Astros. Biden called the Braves the upset kings of October and praised them for turning the season around, defying expectations. The team, in turn, gave the president a Braves jersey with his name and the number 46 on the back. The Braves then stayed in D.C. Monday to play the Washington Nationals and won 8-0. Visitors at a Virginia zoo were shocked and excited when a giraffe named Amara unexpectedly gave birth right in front of them. Amara gave birth to a 6-foot-tall, 122-pound calf named Tisa, which means 9 in Swahili. Tisa is Amara's 9th offspring. Not only did the visitors get to see the birth, they also watched as Tisa stood, took its first wobbly steps, and nursed at its mother's teat. Cool. Sign1News will be broadcasting updates Monday through Friday. A big thank you to our Sign1News app supporters. You help make this broadcast happen. You can download the Sign1News app by heading to the App Store or Google Play Store on your smartphone, and you can also watch on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku.